we are talking about the five worst things that one could potentially do when it comes to resume and resume building. Problem? This is a problem because one of the biggest things about resume building is that it will potentially give the recruiter only 6 seconds to make up their mind whether your resume is worth even reading beyond the first line and second line. Second of all, your resume is essentially is your suit, right? It is something that people have a first impression of. It is something that the recruiter has a good understanding of what kind of personality you have, what kind of character you have, how do you carry yourself. A lot of believe you want to achieve, but also believe what you can bring to the table. So, what are we going to do today is essentially go into practicals. I've got a couple of points that and with that we will be able to go directly into it, right? So the one thing that of course you have to remember is that this is along the lines of someone who has um gone through a couple of things. He gave me his permission to go through this resume. You might not know who this is, but he'd say, hey, listen, I know I had a lot of work to do on my resume, and you can give the people a good indication of what the mistakes I've made that you, as me as a team, to overcome. And of course, we will go through it right during this live. Okay, so let's get right into it, and we'll talk about just in general what, in my view, are big mistakes. So let's get into it. All right. So what do we have here? We have somebody by the names of Njabulo Nkosi, right? He is someone from Newcastle. How I came about his is we have a startup called UAV for Africa, and we run internships throughout the year, mainly across the African continent. So essentially, we give interns or graduates and undergraduates an opportunity to do their vacation work through this internship and so achieve what is required vacation requirements, vocation requirements, should I say. And the vacation work submission can be done through us after completing a specific number of tasks that indeed were deemed adequate. So, we will go through a couple of things here, and it's quite important that we understand why do I say worst mistakes and what are some things that you can essentially already start. So first things first. So Njabulo, I will try and do you justice. So whenever you watch this, I know you've moved on from this, so this is in the past, so you can look at this profile, they're like, okay, Njabulo, thanks for being so transparent, but we know that you've done a lot better than this. So the first things first, and I wanna highlight a few things, right? Is when we look at a CV, and a lot of us were taught this way, right? So a CV, you have personal details, you have some form of a profile, education, skills. Okay, so it looks pretty. You would think this is pretty okay, but unfortunately, I will tell you, it is nowhere near. Now, what is the first mistake? First mistake is to think that recruiters actually care about who you are. Recruiters don't care, okay? Recruiters don't care that you are a graduate of this and you are so diligent and you are committed and you are continuously learning, because the first thing they will ask is, how do we know this, right? How do we know that you're indeed doing what you said you're doing, right? This already takes up a lot of real estate in the first page. Take it out. Take it out, completely take it out. To know any of this as a recruiter, what you want to know, especially for an intern, you want to know, what are you doing? What have you been doing, right? What is it that you want to do? Why should I even bother? reading on your CV if I'm not able to understand what is it that you can give me because of what you're doing. So very important. So that this profile for sure needs to come out. So that's mistake number one, right? Thinking that the recruiters care and that we can label number one, right? So this should definitely go away. Now, the other thing I would say, as you can, if you were to zoom out a little bit here, you can see there's another mistake number two. And in here, you have education, right? Education, one would say, oh, it's not so bad to be here, but the question still remains, why do I want to know? What does this tell me anything about you if it's written in this way? Where are the subjects? Yeah? Where's the subjects? And how much did you get? Yeah, where are the best subjects? Best subjects. Show me. Academic record is one thing. Showcasing why why you are good for the job is something else. And part of it, given your level of education and given your level of experience with marks on subjects. Show them if you've got 78%, anything you got 78, 75% and above, i.e. a B, A minus, A plus, show it here, right? So this is mistake number two. Thinking that just just giving a list of where you attended in your education is good enough. This is a complete no-no. This tells me absolutely nothing. Now, mistake number three, which is, we are definitely moving forward. Yeah. So let me move all of this. So we're definitely moving forward. Mistake number three is that you think, so let me do this, there you go, like that. All right. So mistake number three is thinking that your skills, as you give them here, are self-explanatory. What is communication? When you tell me my skill is communication, you know the first thing I think about? So is mine. So what? I can communicate. What about communication should make me attracted to you? What about problem solving should make me attracted to you? What about leadership? So all of these are completely and utterly vague. So so what happens with the story, right? The story here, according to this profile, is you telling me about you. I don't know you. You telling me about your education without any context. You telling me about your skills without any context. This is the first page. Remember, the recruiter only has 6 seconds. This, this first page, every single recruiter that will read this will just not bother. This person doesn't know what they want. This person cannot tell me really why I should read this further. And this person doesn't actually understand what we are looking for. So these three mistakes already, already on its own is really a problem. So we will talk about how do we fix it, but it's very important that when you look at a CV and you see this, your CV, if it has attention to detail, in what context? What did you do? Show me what you did in relation to the position that you're applying, right? That gives me you showed attention to detail. How did you do? Right? So that this vagueness, or should I say superficial way of putting skills is not really a skill because it's without context. So let's just go right through and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So now you see something else, and we will skip certificates for now. You see projects. Now projects is really awesome, but it's second page. So this is mistake number four. And this I'm going to answer one specific question that a lot of the interns and entry level graduates have, which is how do I s- present a CV where I have no work experience? Guess what your number one thing is? Projects. But I will not even talk about projects. I will talk about technical, Technical experience, right? Especially for those who are the data scientists, who are engineers, architects. You've done projects. The question is, are you still doing projects? So the number one number four, the number one project should not be what you did the few years ago. It should be the latest one, right? Can you see that? Here is March and then July, November. So it goes in chronological order. Nobody cares what you did 5 years ago, 3 years ago. It should actually be from the most recent, most recent to least recent, right? Just give me a second. Let me try and close the door here. All right, so we back. So most recent to least recent. Okay. So what am I trying to make a point here, and which is really for me, projects essentially should go all the way to the top, right? It should be here, projects, or in actual fact, not projects in this case, right? We are talking very clear things. We are saying I want to say technical experience. Yeah. Okay. So so basically I'm saying technical experience should be here at the top, not at the bottom, right? And within each project, which is the most recent to the least recent, you should incorporate the different skills that you actually developed or used in those projects. So, example, it says here design and develop the regular blah 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 blah. But how did you do it? Did you do it within a team? You know, how? Timeline. Did you follow a certain schedule, right? I.e., multitasking. What type of details were done here, right? Were you the team leader? Were you communicating? What was your involvement in the project? Right, the most recent, and then to the least recent. I mean, these are amazing projects, but they are too far down. The recruiter will not see this, right? The recruiter will not see this. So what do I mean? So then the probably biggest one, right? Technical experience. Not only is it badly written, it's in the wrong position, and it does not give an account of the fact that it should actually be a lot more, just expanded when it comes to skills, and gives a bit more perspective of how you've achieved these projects, and the skills that were used or developed throughout those projects. Okay. Now, mistake number five, and this is probably the biggest mistake. And this is the reason why a lot of you are not getting any interviews, because you are in a catch 22, right? You finished your school, right? You don't have a chance of an internship. And you're looking for a work that requires internship, but you have no experience, and they require experience. You know what you should do is, in your project, the most recent should be present. So it should be, let's say, from 2024 to present. Now, the next question would be, what project am I doing that I'm supposed to be doing that is I'm currently doing? Good question. You should have a project you are doing on your own, at your own pace. You have a GitHub account. If you don't GitHub, here's, watch my MATLAB series on Accelerator, MATLAB and Simulink Accelerator. I'll put a link, and essentially understand that to have mini projects ongoing that will give some perspective of your technical experience that is ongoing. You are consistently learning. That's why when I read something like this to say continuously learning in what? If your last project was 2 years ago, what are you continuously learning? You see my point? So it is not aligned. It is not something that I take very good confidence that this person actually knows what is required to have an interview. What is required? All right. So I've talked about mistake number one, mistake number two, mistake number three that should be aligned with mistake number four, and of course, mistake is consistent, consistent learning, learning, consistent learning, which means you should have an updated project that is sitting right here at the top. I'll even say personal details should be somewhere here, right? So don't make too much real estate. Put this here, right? I will put it there. Make this a lot smaller. I will not make this as big as that because it takes a lot of real estate. Remember, you really your first page to be bam. Like this is who I am. I'm doing this. Look how amazing I am. All right, without vanity, just straight up facts. And so personal details should be up here. Technical experience should be here, and then your latest project that you're currently working on, GitHub, mechanical design of something, CAD design, whatever. Like you don't have to build stuff if you're a mechanical engineer. You could be designing stuff, right? Electronics are now 52 dollars, 50 rands if you're in South Africa, or how many nairas. But more importantly, you can work on your skills online. Nothing stops you. And these are the things that should be at the first ones. And then the second ones would be the latest one. The education should come either at the latest here, once you put a very clear profile of technical experience, or should be in the second page. Along with the languages should be at the way at the bottom, and then references should be last. Can you see how much work one can already do with a CV? This is very important for those who are struggling to even get an interview. 9 times out of 10, your CV is all over the place. It's not giving any context. It is too vague. It is too centered on kind of, pretending like this person should care about you. People have hundreds of CVs to look at. You want to give a first impression targeted at what you are applying, very, very targeted. Okay, so I hope this has helped. Kind of coaching session of, going through CVs and trying to understand how this works, and I'm really hopeful that if you have any questions, please put it on the comments below. Does this make sense? Do you have any other suggestions on help Jabulo to really ensure that he's able to get more interviews and hopefully land up a job? Please put on the comments below, and I will sure forward it to him. And more importantly, it is something that I believe we can all get better at. And of course, if I mean, at the end of the day, it is something that we all want to get good at, so that we are able to, as we get good jobs and the confidence of having a career increases. I'm Dr. PK. Thanks again for watching another coaching e-learning session on MoloMolo Tech Studios. Until next.